Join us for the first of our tales from the glass-guarded world. Today's story introduces our heroes, Tara, Finmac, and Paxton, and launches them on an exciting journey to, deliver some wheat. Hopefully exciting things will develop from there. If you'd like to learn more about the glass-guarded world, go back and listen to Episode 0. Our story begins in the Free Cities, more specifically, the coastal town of Denton, where Paxton the Wandering Cleric is looking for work. Fortunately, work is looking for him. This is the first real episode of Tales from the Glass-Guarded World, where our story starts. And if you want some details in the campaign setting, go back and listen to episode 0, where we explain some of the weird things about this world. In this episode, we'll start the actual story. So again, I'm joined by Brian, Ashley, and Andy, and I'll let them briefly introduce their characters, starting with Brian.
My character is a human cleric named Paxton. He's a pacifist, refuses to learn any offensive magic or carry any weapons. He has a large two-handed shield, and he's all about healing and buffing the party.
All right, Ashley, you want to go next?
I'm Ashley, and I play Tara, a human fighter. She is a noble from a rival.
And Andy.
My name is Andy, and my character is Finmac Cast Spinner, but he'll name will probably be Finn for most of the game. He is a wizard gnome that actually knows Tara. I was of a servant house for her noble family, and when I learned that I could do magic, they paid for me to be able to go to the Magistracy and study.
Excellent. Let's go ahead and start the story. It is the 20th of 5th month, 2007. 2007 in the game world, not 2007. Right. We're going to start with Paxton. Paxton, you're in the city of Denton, which is a port on the Middle Sea, in the region known as the Free Cities. Denton is an old city, and it consists of 2 sections. The older section by the port is walled and teeming with trade. The newer section is further inland and was damaged nearly 100 years ago during a war with the Iron Empire, and many of the buildings there were never repaired, and the ruins have been adapted into various structures of dubious integrity. Only recently has serious rebuilding started taking place beyond the old city. You've been wandering around the Free Cities region, but recently you've been doing some work in this older, poorer part of town, healing the injured and picking up odd jobs. You're currently looking for more work, as your savings, although not insubstantial, won't last forever. You've made friends with the innkeeper at the Rusted Bucket Inn, a thin, unhealthy-looking half-elf named Rowson. Rowson keeps a job board posted outside his inn. After breakfast, Rowson says, "I'll tell you what, that there message board has got some new notices on it. Why don't you go take a gander?"
I reckon I will.
Oh, I just remembered. Character voices. Do you guys have character voices?
A little bit.
All right.
Oh, trust me. We're getting there.
All right. Good.
This is going to happen for a while.
Excellent.
Oh, no.
That's great.
I will turn you into a toad and squash you.
It's Mickey Mouse.
It's Mickey Mouse. All right. You guys have character voices ready? You have some idea of what you want your character to sound like? I mean, you guys, being from a rival, can do pretty much anything you want. If you want to have, if you want to sound like an English noblewoman, you can do that. If you want to adopt a drawl, you could say that you had family from the Free Cities, and that infected your accent. If you want to sound like a real tough, you can do that. You know, whatever you think sounds like what you want your character to sound like.
Unfortunately, I think the only voice I can do is my customer service voice.
It's good to have a voice, not just because it's radio and it's fun. Well, it's not radio, but you know what I mean. But also because it makes it easier for us to tell when you're talking in character and when you're talking out of character. So If you can have an interesting voice that the listeners can distinguish, then that would be great. So anyways, after Ralston says, "Why don't you take a gander?" Is Paxton speaking in his character voice?
Sure.
All right, so what's Paxton's character voice?
Well, thank you kindly. I reckon I will take a look at that job board.
No, you've just gotten up. You've just had breakfast. Do you want to get on your gear and everything? Or are you just walking outside to look at the job board? What's your procedure? Your morning procedure? Are you already clad in your armor and hauling your shield around with you?
Yeah. I'm already in all my armor and my shield's clipped onto my back.
Okay.
Because you never know when danger's going to strike.
All right. So Paxton gets up from breakfast, steps outside in his chainmail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chainmail, and with his ridiculously large, unwieldy shield on his back. All right. So as you exit the common room, you notice a fellow in a gray cloak leaning back in a chair against the corner. It's hard to tell if he's watching you, as you can't see his face under the hood. Outside, it's a beautiful morning, though it's likely to get uncomfortably warm later. There are no clouds in the sky. You think you might be able to see clear to the oculus. The oculus, I guess we didn't mention, but the oculus is something that people used to say the gods would look through into the world, but it doesn't look like, it seems, as far as everyone has heard, that no one has looked through it for a long time. But you think you can maybe see it up in the sky, just a sort of circle up in the walls of the world. Early morning traffic has already started. Finished goods from nearby Mulder's bunker making their way into town to be loaded onto ships. It's an industrial suburb of the city, and you can see the smoke from the tanneries rising. The message board is right next to the Rusted Bucket Inn's sign, and there are several notices posted. Some of them are clearly not your line of work. For example, there's a ship's captain looking for 20 healthy rowers. A butcher wants to train a new apprentice. There's a notice that has become familiar to you. You've seen it out here before. It's actually been out for quite a while. In a shaky handwriting, someone calling himself Tate Redman demands that someone help him with his Nixie problem. He's made several additions to his notes since then, in increasingly frantic-looking handwriting, claiming that they are pestering his cattle, hiding things in his house, and causing him to forget where he left his shoes.
Now, did you say Nixie?
Nixies.
Do I know what a Nixie is?
No.
Awesome.
You would guess it's somehow related to a pixie. But
that's a good guess.
But you're not sure. You've probably actually heard that this guy is a bit of a nut job. More importantly, there are two new notices. First, there's a farmer named Denton Wheatman who wants some wheat transported to Zauberfeld, which is a town in the magistracy north of here. Benton will provide a wagon, horses, and some rations. He's staying at the house of a friend nearby, and the net pay would be 8 gold to be shared among the crew, and that's pretty good pay for a month's work. The other notice says that 2 visitors from Arrival, Tara and Finmac, want to hire a guide and an escort to explore the region around the Broken River. They're also willing to work other jobs that allow them to travel around this area. You also notice that there are 2 people leaning on a fence next to the inn, watching you. Tara and Finmac. You see a human wearing chainmail and carrying a ridiculously large shield, but no weapon, walk out of the inn and survey the message board. He seems particularly interested in your notice.
So do I know that they're the ones who posted the notice?
They apparently put this note up on the message board, and they got nothing else to do, so they're standing around the message board looking to see if anyone's interested.
Hey, friend, you from around here?
Sure am.
So do you know the area well?
Sure do.
Are you looking for work?
Sure am.
Perfect. You're reading our note.
Y'all are the ones who want to go to the Broken River?
Finmac's the name. This here's Lady Tara.
Hi, I'm Tara.
Pleased to meet you both. I'm Paxton.
All right, well, you guys want to describe what each of you looks like? Or you want to describe what Tara looks like?
Tara is a human female. She has blonde hair. She is wearing chainmail. She has a sword and a shield.
A long sword?
Equipped. A long sword,
Okay.
yes, indeed. All equipped, but she doesn't look like she's been in a fight recently.
So she looks like a high-class fighter? Sort of Does she look wealthy, or are you trying not to look wealthy?
I
Or is
think
she-
she looks well kept.
Okay.
You know, her hair is tidy. She has braids in the front to make sure it's not in the way when she is going to fight. And she's clean. Her armor is not particularly expensive looking, but it looks well kept.
Okay. How tall is Finmek?
He's about 3'2", not very tall, bushy, unkept brown hair, fairly pallid brown skin. He seems to be in like traveler's clothes.
Does he have a pointy cap?
No.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
That would have been great. No, he does have a few pouches about his person, and he does seem to be carrying way more equipment than he should be. He's carrying a backpack that's about the size of him, and then there's another small backpack that's floating behind him.
And he doesn't
just
look very...
follows
Yes,
him.
it's floating behind him in midair. And he doesn't look very strong, right? Even
No.
for somebody 3'2", he's still... Okay. And what does Paxton look like other than that he's wearing chainmail? And does he have a helm?
No.
No, okay.
So obviously the shield is the most noticeable thing about him, and the shield has a giant tree drawn on it. And his chainmail, whenever you get closer to him, notice that it's probably made from several pieces of chainmail that he found that he maybe wove together. Not expensive or nice looking at all. Maybe donated. And he's got like shoulder-length blonde hair that looks unevenly cut, like he just tore it off with a dagger.
Okay.
Like cut his own hair.
All right. He's a do-it-yourselfer. All right. As you guys are talking to each other, in the distance, you can hear someone saying, "Rowson! Rowson! Rowson!" And a large, heavy-set woman pushes past you. It past the gate into the yard by the inn, saying, "Excuse me." And she runs into the inn, shouting, "Rowson, help! It got loose! I'll pay you if you help me, Rowson!" And she goes into the inn.
I hear that, and I know Rowson a lot better than I know these two folks, so I just kind of dash off to see if Rowson needs any help.
And you know that Rowson is a nice guy, but he's not real good at... He's not the sort of person you run to for help. He's not a real vigorous fellow.
Would y'all excuse me for just a moment? I gotta help my friend over here.
After you go ahead and dash out, I go ahead and anxiously look at Tara, knowing that she'll probably want to go in. And I just look at her like I don't want to. And then I wait for her response.
Well, we may as well go see what it is.
All right.
If you go, I'll follow.
You go inside. This woman, you gather her name is Arlette, from Rowson talking to her here. She's all upset. And she's telling Rowson that one of her animals got loose. And Rowson is telling her, "No, woman, I told you. Those critters you're keeping in that building, they're not safe. You need to either hire some more help or you need to find another line of work because it is not a good choice." And she says, "Well, that's all well and good, but right now this thing is loose. It's a Grick and it's getting around. And I don't know what kind of trouble it's going to cause. It could eat somebody. Can't have that." And he says, "Well, maybe Paxton over here, or he might be able to help you. I don't see what I can do. Where is it?" And she says, "Well, it got loose in my warehouse. It's just across the street. But I don't know where it is in there, and I'm not going to go poking around in the dark inside trying to find this thing. What if it finds me first?"
Can we overhear her?
Oh, yeah, you guys are in now. You've heard the tail end of that conversation. She's saying there's something loose in her warehouse, and she's not going to go look for it.
Do I know what a Grick is?
No.
No?
Ma'am, what kind of livestock is this?
Oh, well, this Grick, it's the most fascinating thing you ever seen. It's long and wormy, and it's got a beak and tentacles.
I make a repulse.
It's just a
face.
little one, though. It's not a big one. As Gricks go, this one's not that big. It's not full grown, but shoo-wee, it's trouble. Just a wee one. But if it gets away, it's going to cause a heap of trouble. It's going to eat somebody. You got anyone that can shove it back in this bag, I'll pay them.
Do you
I'm
need it
looking
to
at
be
the size
alive?
of the bag to see how big this creature is.
It's a big sack. It's bigger than your backpack.
From behind Tara's leg. Do you need it to be alive?
I'd like it alive, but I'll pay you. I'll tell you what, you bring it back alive, I'll pay you 2 gold pieces. You kill it, I'll pay you each a silver.
No worries, ma'am. We'll go get that Grick for you.
Thank you kindly. That's very sweet of you. It's just over here. I'll show you. You guys willing to do it?
Yeah. Finn, if it's going to kill someone.
We'll help. I guess if anything, we'll buy a nice lunch on the way out.
All right, so she leads you over to the warehouse. Paxton, you notice that the fellow in the gray cloak is no longer in the inn. Paxton has the highest perception score, so there's going to be a lot of Paxton you notice. So just brace yourself. So you walk over to this warehouse. She leads you over there, Arlette. And the warehouse was once a barracks. You can tell just by looking at it. It's pretty sturdily built. No windows. The south wall had apparently been damaged in that war long ago. And it has been sort of boarded up, but that part's not real well built. The only entrance is a wooden door in that wooden wall of the building. And as you approach the door, Arlette says, "Watch out now, it's a sneaky varmint. It's not just going to come right up to you. It's going to sneak up on you. So you be careful."
When was the last time it fed?
Ooh.
I'm sorry. When was the last time it fed?
Ooh, well, I don't want it to grow too much, so it's pretty hungry. It's been a while. And it'll eat anything, as long as it's meat.
I just strapped my backpack closer to myself.
What's the plan? The door is shut.
I think if there's just one of them and it's pretty small, maybe the best way to handle the situation would be to spread out so that one of us finds it, and then once someone finds it, we all gang up on it to try to get it in the bag. Finding it's probably going to be the hardest part, though.
So you would say fan out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If we're going to fan out, I would say let me go down the middle, because if it can move without us noticing it, I'm the most likely target. And if I'm in the middle, the two of you can react faster to me.
Sure.
Yeah. As we're discussing what we're going to do, I'm going to prepare mage armor and expand one of my spell slots.
You're going to prepare which? Mage armor. Okay. You're casting mage armor?
On myself, yeah.
Okay, great.
It lasts for about an hour, so.
Great. You know what I should do? I should write down your armor classes.
Okay.
Paxton's is 19, is that right? And yours is 18?
It's 18.
All right. Wow. You guys are, well armored.
Sorry, Finn.
Oh, no, it's fine. My magic will do. 15 is... It's respectable.
For a gnome.
Yeah.
So, who's going in first?
I look
go in
up
first.
the man that we want to hire with the big
Derek.
shield.
Tara just volunteered. All right. Tara opens the door. So, inside, it's dark. It's a dark room. You can, just looking through the door, you can see that it's filled with cages and crates. You're going to have to step inside to see more than what you can see here because it's light outside. But you can hear animals moving around, making noises that sound unhappy.
I'm going to venture further inside and also see if I can get a look at these crates and see what this Grick looks like.
Okay. Everyone roll for initiative.
I got a 19.
All right.
11.
5.
All right. Tara steps inside, and immediately from above the door, 4 big tentacles reach down toward her and grab at her head. And this is a surprise round.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it just hits you. It just barely manages to grab you. You almost moved out of the way, but you weren't quite fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
So the Grick attacks you and hits with its tentacles, and it looks like that.
Oh.
Okay. It's ugly.
So it looks
it's
like
extremely
a giant
ugly, and it makes a
worm.
horrible noise as it grabs at you. And because it hit you with its tentacles, which do this much damage, that was a good hit. 10 points of damage.
Oh my.
Yes, that was an unusually good hit. But that means it also gets to attack with its beak because it hit you with its tentacles. But it misses pretty badly with the beak. You are no longer unwary, and you're easily able to fend off its beak. And now we are in normal initiative, and so that means, Tara, you get to go.
Okay. I am going to unsheath my sword and stab it because it just did a lot of damage to me, and I no longer care about keeping it alive
All right.
necessarily.
How are you doing right now, by the way?
Oh, I am bleeding freely.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's a good thing that that beak didn't get her. All right, so make your attack roll.
All right. I got a 17.
That is definitely a hit.
All right, that's with my longsword, which is 1d8. I got a 1.
All right, and do you have a what's your bonus from your strength? Do you have a strength bonus?
Oh, yeah. 3.
3. All right. It makes an unpleasant noise, and it is now its turn again. It tries to hit you with its tentacles again, but you are too wary now, and you bash them aside casually with your shield. And now it is Paxton's turn.
I point my finger at it, and I use command.
Okay.
I tell it to halt.
So what's your spell DC?
It's got to make a wisdom saving throw over DC 13.
Okay. Over DC 13 or 13 and over?
The DC is 13.
Okay, so it rolled exactly a 13. So it pauses for a moment. It's hard to tell if what it looks like if it's confused, right? Mm-hmm. How's a worm with tentacles? How do you tell if it's confused? But you would guess it was confused for a moment, but didn't stop. And now it's Finn's turn.
Okay, after seeing Tara get hurt, I quickly run in the room, and it's above us, right?
Yes, it's actually clinging to the wall above the door.
Part of me wants to try to save it alive, but most of me cares about the fact that she got hurt and that I cannot deal with having to go back to her family if she's dead. So I'll just go straight for a firebolt.
Okay, make an attack roll.
6 plus my modifier, which is 6, so 12.
That is not able to penetrate its thick hide. And that puts us back at the top of the order. Tara, it's your turn again.
How injured does it look?
Good question. So as you observe it, you notice that your weapon, although it did hurt it, doesn't seem to have had as much of an effect as you thought it would. So it doesn't look badly hurt.
Okay. I feel like it could probably take another stab, so I'm going to go ahead and strike at it with my longsword again. This time it's an 11 plus my proficiency bonus, which is 2, and then is it strength also?
Yeah, it should be. It should say next to
5, so 16.
Yeah, you definitely hit it again. Roll your damage.
All right. I got an 8 this time, plus 3, 11.
Ooh, 11?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's a solid hit. The creature makes an awful noise, and sort of flips off the wall, like pushes off the wall, and lands behind some boxes in the room. And you can hear it sort of slithering away from you into the room. That's what it does on its turn. It pushes, jumps off the wall and lands in behind some crates. And I guess I should make a stealth check, and you guys can try to oppose that with your perception. Ooh, it's going to be a tough one.
12.
5.
0.
Oh, okay.
I rolled a 1 with a -1.
You have absolutely no idea where it went. Maybe it flew away.
Oh, well, maybe we can put it in the bag now.
So you're going to move into the room and try to find it?
Are we still in initiative order?
We can do it that way if you want to. We can say, Grick, Paxton, do you want to do anything?
Yeah, I want to cure wounds on
Great.
Tara. So it is 1d8 plus 6. Yeah, 8. Yeah, 14. You're healed for 14.
Nice.
All right,
Wow.
I'm feeling quite a bit better.
Excellent.
And thank you.
While he's mending her, I'll go use mend to fix any chinks in her armor and also look around the room to see what I can tell. Have dark vision.
So you're mending her armor while you look around the room. If you want to try to make another perception check, you can see if there are any clues you can try to use to figure out where this thing is. Go ahead and roll.
Yeah, I can do an investigation check if you want to see if there's any slither marks or if I see any sprays of blood from where it flew. Okay, I think I got that. 1723.
All right, so I'll tell you a bit more about the room. You can see that there are, as I mentioned, lots of cages and cates with a variety of animals. You can see one cage has a larger than normal wolf. Not huge, just bigger than normal. A smaller than normal horse. A very large snake. And some tiny little creatures in a crate that look like a cross between an owl and a bear. And they're little bitty ones.
Oh, little tiny baby owl bear!
So bad.
All the creatures appear very agitated and alert, and that's actually making it hard to find things in here because they're all making noises and moving around, and it makes it difficult. You do see a broken crate that this creature probably came out of, but you don't see anything else that suggests the creature must be hiding over there.
Okay. Can you get the bag ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have my unseen servant drop my bags near me, and then it can basically do push, pull, things like that. I'm basically just going to have it do a pushing force behind the crate. It can push, it's 30 times its thing, so as long as it weighs less than 60 pounds, it should be able to just push anything that's back there out from behind the crate.
Okay. How does it work if something attacks your unseen servant?
It has 1 HP, I believe. Yeah. It has 10 AC, 1 HP, and 2 strength, and it can't attack.
Okay.
If it drops to 0 hit points, the spell ends.
So that's on your turn. It is pushing something behind one of the crates, but you can't tell what it is at the moment.
Okay.
Tara, we're back to your turn.
Okay, well, I'm going to go further into the room and see if I can investigate, to look around and see if I can find the little beast.
All right, so you begin walking around the room.
Shield at the ready.
Okay. All right, shield first. Good. Over by where your unseen servant is, you are aware that it has just been dispelled.
Something attacked him.
I think we know where that Grick is.
So it's just
Great,
over to
let's
your
get
left
this over
behind
with.
some boxes.
Okay.
Paxton, it's your turn.
So I want to sneak around to see if I can get to a point where I can see it, but it can't see me.
All right, so you're moving around to the left, around the area where the boxes are. And as you do that, you see that there is a fellow in a gray cloak who is shoving something into a bag.
Is he within a running distance of me?
Yep.
Can I move to him in one
You
turn?
can move to him.
All right. I run over to him and try to grapple him.
All right, you can see that he is shoving the Grick into a bag.
What are you doing with that Grick?
Yes, I'm capturing the Grick. You couldn't do it, or I did it. Incompetent.
Who are you?
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Trying to capture that Grick?
I heard that you are exploring the area. Is that right? What does that mean exactly? What are you looking for? And you, who are you?
Can we hear? Yeah, so it says, can we hear you? Okay, I guess.
Yeah, you can
yes.
hear. You can hear Paxton having this strange conversation. And the Grick seems totally passive. Like it's asleep.
How did you get him to calm down?
I put him to sleep.
Did you use magic?
Of course.
So, yes, we're looking for guides. Are you from the area?
What do you care? I'm not going to help you. Who are you? What are you doing here?
How did you even get in here?
I walked through the door before you did. While you were talking in the inn, I took action.
So you found your way here before she even said where the warehouse was?
I know where I've been here. I know where she lives. I know her warehouse. I know everything going on around here, except who you are. Who are you? What are you doing?
Can I do an insight check to see if this guy seems legit or not?
Sure. With your crit fail, all you can determine is that he seems, you have no idea what his motives are, right? All you can infer is what's obvious, which is that he demands to know who you are and what your interest, what you're here to do.
Can we do insight checks to see what we can discern of
Sure.
the man? 4.
Similar for you, he seems like he's asking you questions and expects answers.
Poker face, just
Yeah.
so good.
So why are you so interested
But I'll
in
also reply. I got a 12.
Okay. You can infer that he is a wizard, and he's probably a well-trained wizard, and that he's more curious about you two than about you.
Well, I'm Tara Dane, and my friend Finn and I just arrived in the Free Cities, and we are looking for a guide to know our way around.
What is it you want to learn more about?
Why are you so interested?
It's none of your business. Excuse
Nor
me.
is it yours.
I have some gold to collect. And he tries to push past you. Are you stopping him, or are you just going to let him walk away? He's
I was
walking
thinking,
away.
yeah, considering the, I'm not going to attack the man for just having done the job better. Would, having seen the creature, can I tell roughly how heavy it was?
Doesn't tell you that in the monster manual, does it? Does it tell you the
I'm really
size?
asking if it looks like it weighs more than 5 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, you're guessing it is the weight of a big dog. This is probably an 70, 80-pound creature.
What do you guys want to do?
He's dragging it in his bag along the ground.
I mean, seems like he got there before we did, so I don't see any reason to stop him.
Yeah.
The petty side of me wants to stab the bag and kill the creature. Just saying.
Oh. Yeah, I put a little bit of fire in my hand and consider it, but then I'm like, I decide not to.
All right.
I become somewhat interested by the fact that there are so many exotic creatures in the warehouse in the middle of this, city.
You're not sure what exactly she does with all these creatures.
As we walk out, I ask her,
All right.
why
well,
do you have so many?
She's paying the money that she promised to you guys. She's paying to this guy. But she does thank you for your trouble and give you a copper each.
I try to look gracious.
I, considering that I don't need to, I look at the penny and I look at her. And then I just look at the penny and I put it away.
The guy in the cloak just walks off. He walks back to the inn. And you ask her, what do you do with all these animals? Well, she says she sells them to collectors. You wouldn't believe all sorts of people want these crazy critters. People put them in zoos or in their personal collections, or they set them loose somewhere and then hunt them, or some people want to do research on them, all sorts of stuff.
So who gets them to you?
Oh, I have people who go out and they find things, and when they find something interesting, they know to come to me, Arlette. You find anything interesting, some kind of crazy critter, you bring it to me, I'll pay good money for it.
How much you sell them owlbear puppies for?
Oh, those are something fancy. Those are dangerous, too. You want those?
I've been considering it.
Oh, I guess I could part with them for 50 gold each. They're small.
How about we go ahead and grab one and not report
Oh,
you?
I gotta sell them together. Those two are a pair. I wouldn't
I
separate
want to
them.
squeal about this creature that doesn't exist. I want to somehow intimidate her. Okay, so from my knowledge, outside of the game, from my knowledge of the history of the world, was she doing illegal?
Yes.
Yes?
What
Okay,
she's
never
doing is
mind.
legal.
All right, never mind.
In the free cities, there's not a lot of regulations against this sort of stuff.
Okay, that's perfectly fine then. I'm just going to sigh and look at the bears.
You
As
said it
little
is or
pups.
is not legal?
It is legal. It is not illegal.
I was going to try to extort her.
Yeah.
Nope. They're cute in a terrifying kind of way. You know they're going to grow up to be
Terrifying.
terrifying.
But at that point, they'll be our best friends.
Right. You hope.
I want one so bad.
It's okay, we'll come back and steal them.
We all want not very cuddly animals so bad.
All right.
Okay.
You've heard of owlbears before, though. You haven't heard of a Grick before, but you've heard of owlbears before.
Yeah.
At this point, actually, Rowson, the innkeep, has also showed up, and he's curious to see what happened. And he says, if y'all really do want to look around the Broken River, you should take up with Farmer Benton on his job that he had posted up there. You'll have to drive right through that area. So you might as well make some money on your trip, right? If you're already going that way, might as well add some extra money to make it profitable. He probably wants someone who can fight, and what with the bandits in the area and all. So, might be worth checking into.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't know if our cleric friend is going to want to come along, though. So.
Well, Paxton, you're more familiar with the area. You're pretty familiar with the area. You've traveled these parts for a while.
Yeah, I could get you there even without taking a job, but, why not make some gold on the way? You know what I mean?
If you go ahead and help us with the job, we'll split anything we make with you aside from the payment for being our guide.
I would expect that.
There.
That's fun.
She holds the purse.
Rowson can point you to Benton Wheatman, where he's staying. He's staying next to a different warehouse where he's got some of his goods stored. All right, so you're going to head straight there, or is there anything else you want to do first?
I don't have much gold to do anything interesting, so yeah, I'm pretty much just going to spend about 10 minutes setting up my unseen servant again as a ritual and having him carry the rest of my bags again.
What does that ritual look like? You just...
While everyone is getting ready, or while we're talking about where we're going to do, I sit next to the side of a building and just open my book, grab from my components pouch a couple pinches of materials and spread into the floor. Then the dust goes up into the air. And then you can kind of see that something's there from the dust, but eventually it just melts into the air.
Cool.
And while they're doing that, I would assume we're getting to know each other and talking about what they want to do in the region.
Good idea. All right.
Perfect. If we spend, let's say, a couple minutes here, like an hour or so, after I do the spell, can I do Arcane Recovery to regain my spell slot?
Yep,
All
for
right.
sure.
I'll do that.
Good idea.
Okay.
Rousen points you to where Benton Wheatman is staying. During the walk over there and during this rest, is there anything you guys need to tell each other about what you're interested in or what your goals are?
Did we learn Paxton's name?
Yeah, I introduced myself.
Yep.
I would be interested in learning more about why y'all are trying to find out about the Broken River.
How much do you want to say? That's up to you. My character looks at you about how much you really want to reveal about why we're here.
Well, how does a river break? What if our river breaks?
That's a good point. No one knows.
That's why we want to know.
We have the extra time and we're in the area, so might as well do a little investigating, and if we can make gold along the way, that's an extra perk to it all. How about yourself? Why do you find yourself going from job to job at the moment?
That's all I've ever known. I just go where I'm needed.
That
He
sounds
had a
like a
real
nice
big
life.
shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a two-handed shield.
That seems impractical.
And excessive.
You like getting hit?
I don't.
Well, you should get a two-handed shield then.
He leads you over, or he points you toward Benton Wheatman Inn where he's staying at. I guess he's not staying at an inn. He's staying in his warehouse, actually. And he introduces himself to you. And he says, well, I tell you what, them roads to the north ain't as bad as they were years back. But they still ain't good. I got 24 bushels of wheat I need driven to a grist mill in Zauberfeld. You take it up there, and my man, Hans Miller, he'll pay you 28 gold.
I whispered to Tara.
Hans Miller, that's the name you're looking for. Hans Miller. He'll pay you 28 gold. You bring that gold back to me, and you'll get 8 gold to share between you.
I whispered to Tara. Was that common?
I know that's rich, but grain prices is still high over there on account of them bandits. Now, I'll give you 100 copper for expenses, plus a wagon and horses, hay, water, spare horseshoes, nails, all that stuff. Now, I ain't dumb, and I know you could just take all 28 gold and run off with them. But y'all look like honest folk, and if you do right by me, I'll put out a good word for you. Now, if you can't bring the money back yourselves, once you get over there, then Hans will pay you 4 gold instead, and since he's going to have to pay a courier to send the rest of the money. Does that sound fair?
So to make sure, the job includes us taking the goods and bringing them back, including the 28 gold that he will be paying you for the grains that we will be delivering.
Not exactly. You're just taking them over there and then dropping them off there. Then you bring the gold back.
Bring the gold back, correct.
Yeah. And if you don't want to do that, then he'll pay you some of the money. Instead of those full 8 gold pieces, he'll pay you 4. And then he'll hire someone else to bring all the rest of the money over this way.
And your horses?
I'll get other horses. I don't need to have him bring all of them all the way back. But if he brings them too, then that's fine. Y'all welcome to bring my horses back in the wagon. If you want to do that on the way back, that's fine too. And you know what? If you find something else, you can cart back over here. Sell it when you get back here. Fine with me. Make a profit on the side. That's fine with me. As long as I get my money.
Sounds
as long as my goods are dropped off.
Sounds like a nice way to travel.
We got some flexibility. We don't necessarily have to come back immediately.
It's a nice job, nice pay.
Now,
right,
you
I'm
guys
down.
do know that the area has become drier as a result of the river breaking.
Mm-hmm.
And that bushels of wheat in this area the price has gone up, right? So you are a bit of a target hauling this stuff. But he is paying you pretty generously. And also, some side notes if you're curious. 1 bushel of wheat is about 60 pounds of wheat, and it produces about 40 pounds of flour once ground up in the mill. A bushel of wheat is made up of wheat kernels, and it's transported in sacks. So this is a wagon full of sacks of wheat.
And how many sacks are there? How many bushels are we transporting?
Well, there are 24 1-bushel sacks.
And what is the value of what we're transporting?
It's quite a lot. It could be 40, 50 gold.
Okay.
Enough for some owlbear puppies.
Yeah, but I don't want to go trade all of this. I don't trust that woman.
It's about 1,440 pounds of wheat, or 0.72 tons of wheat.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess it's best if we leave now.
All right. He's ready to send you immediately. He's got his horses set. His horses are Bud and Bart.
Well,
and he'll lead you to the back of the warehouse where he's got his stable with the horses. He'll tie them up to the wagon, yoke them up to the wagon. And he has some advice for you as well. He says, now, if I was you, I'd take the trail road to Malder's Bunk, then continue on that path to the Feldkirk Road. You can stop in Feldkirk if you need to, but it'd be faster just to continue moseying on across the marshes and then up the road to Zauberfeld. You ask anyone there about Hans Miller, they'll point you to his mill. It's a big magical thing. You never seen the like. We have a standing arrangement. There shouldn't be any trouble. You stick by that wagon now. Grain's valuable. Horses, too.
Is there, do you have a cover or anything we can put on the grain? Make us a little bit more...
He does have a canvas tarp you can throw over it, yeah.
Okay. Well, I will go ahead and get ready if there's anything you wish to do. And I go ahead and have my bags thrown into the carriage, then hand my bags to the air that also throws them in the carriage, and then jump in the front and have the reins pick themselves up.
Yeah, there's room for 2 people to sit on the front, and 1 person can sit on the back or on the bags of wheat.
And he was providing us with rations.
That's right.
Including water.
Yes, he's got hay for the horses, rations for you. He's got, let's see, Paxton, you know about the distances involved. You know it is about 200 miles to the intersection of the Trail Road and the Feldkirk Road. It's another 100 miles from there to the Broken River, assuming you cross at the old bridge, which would be the most convenient place to cross, and probably about 125 miles from there to Zauberfeld. That's a total of 425 miles, or at about 16 miles per day in the wagon. That's about 27 days.
That's a month's worth of travel?
Yep.
Tara's looking at Finn, expecting him to have caught all these things that were said because she has a tendency to forget things.
Actually, yes. With an intelligence as high as Finn's, if you want me to repeat any of that, just let me know.
So it'll be 200 miles plus 100 miles plus 125 for 425 miles.
Right.
That's 16 miles a day for 27 days.
Right.
Got it.
That's it.
I rattle off that down and a little note.
Well, aren't you just a smart little thing?
Pen and paper tend to be useful.
I'll take your word for it.
In terms of days, we're talking to get to Mulder's Bunk is just 1 day, 12 days to the crossroads, and then 6 days to the Broken River Bridge, and then 8 days to Zauberfeld. Again, 1 day to get to Mulder's Bunk, 12 days to get to the crossroads, 6 days to the bridge, 8 days to the town of Zauberfeld.
And is he providing us rations for this full time?
That's right. He's got actually 30 days of rations
for each of us.
Enough for each of you to eat for 30 days.
Perfect.
And again, there's also hay for the horses, although there are places they can graze, and there will be merchants along the way you could buy stuff from. Don't feed them the wheat, because that is
the product.
That's very expensive horse feed. Yeah, he's also got water, although you'll probably be able to get water along the way as well.
Well, are there any preparations you gentlemen need to make?
All set.
I think I'm ready.
Oh, just for paranoia's sake, I'll do ritual of detect magic on the caravan to make sure we're not carrying anything we shouldn't be, or at least anything magical.
This is a good point for me to mention a rule. When you guys are doing perception checks or things like that, searching, and you don't know if you succeed or not, I will usually be making those checks for you, okay? Now, with Detect Magic, I'm going to assume that Detect Magic will just show you if there's anything magic. But yeah. I'm going to assume you're also sort of inspecting the thing and looking it over.
Right.
What's your Investigate bonus?
My Investigate bonus is +6.
This is as boring and conventional a wagon as you could possibly imagine. It's well built. It's not going to break down easily. But there is nothing hidden here, and there's nothing magical about it.
Okay. I look at the 2, I guess, metal-clad humans behind me and just say, it's safe!
And the horses are in good shape, too. These are well-cared-for horses.
Nice.
Bud and Bart.
Bud and Bart. I should remember that.
If you're ready to set out, you set out around midday, and you make good time. Even though it's getting quite warm, There are other carts and wagons going the same direction as you, toward Mulder's bunk, as well as in the opposite direction toward Denton. You're making good time as the horses are well rested and well fed. The people around you mostly live and work in Mulder's bunk and are returning home. They're curious about you, though. The people around you are asking, oh, howdy, strangers. Where are you off to? What are you in town for? That sort of stuff. Are you going to just sort of wave them off with generalities, or what do you want to tell people?
Just making a delivery and just wave.
Okay.
Friendly, as this group of Free Cities folks seem quite friendly.
Yep, they are. They're very friendly. They're
Yeah.
very friendly.
It's best to stick with the truth as much as you can. So we're doing a delivery for Farmer Venting. We're on our way out of town.
Great. Oh, they're satisfied with the story. Nobody looks at you suspiciously.
Now, y'all might not want to advertise that we got a bunch of valuable wheat in this car.
Oh.
Well, they just said that they're making a delivery, right? Did you say wheat?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just
But
saying.
if he's a
Yeah,
farmer and
yeah.
he's a wheat farmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Paxton, as you guys are riding for a while, Paxton notices that same fellow in the gray cloak is riding back behind you guys on the trail. Maybe he's just going the same way you are, but there's that guy again. He's going the same route that you're following, on a horse.
No cart?
No cart, just riding a horse. A little bit behind and to your left.
Hmm.
Riding off the left side of the trail. I should mention this trail is not a full road, right? It's a fairly well-maintained trail, but it's not a well-maintained road. So when it rains, it can get muddy and slow you down. But right now, it's in good shape. What are your insight bonuses?
+1.
+5.
+1.
All right. Do you let them know that this guy's following you?
Yeah, I mention it, and, that we should all try to keep an eye on him.
Okay.
'Cause I don't trust him. He kind of scooped us last time.
I flick my wrist at the servant to tell the servant that's driving the cart to slow down a little bit.
Does your servant have animal handling? Can he drive a cart?
Oh, I figured it would be a simple enough.
Do you have animal handling? I mean, if you,
I have
I guess
-1, but I can give it. I can roll for it.
Let's make a check. Go ahead and roll a check.
0.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, the horses are not happy with an invisible person driving them. So someone else is going to have to take the reins here.
I've got +5 animal handling.
All right, go ahead and roll your check just to make sure that nothing untoward happens.
Nat 20.
All right, these horses love you. Bud and Bart, they'll do what you ask.
In that case, I'll go ahead and turn to Paxton instead and ask him, slow down. Let him go by us. If he's just on his way, then it'll no longer be a problem. But if he is following us, then we'll find out fairly quick.
Tara, you notice that he seems to be trying to listen in on you guys without looking like he's trying to listen in.
I lower my voice as I try to speak to them and say, I definitely think he's trying to spy on us.
I agree. I definitely think we should bash his brains in with a rock.
Oh my.
And I look back at him and see if he...
Oh, he looks away. What? That's interesting clouds.
Can we do a wisdom roll against his deception to see if he actually noticed us, or if we're actually fooled by the fact that he didn't hear us?
You're not fooled.
We're not fooled.
Yeah.
We know that he was listening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah. Now that she's told you, it's pretty obvious. Well, if you try slowing down, he also slows down, and he's keeping a distance not too far behind, but behind you. And to be fair, there are lots of other people going this way. It's just that he's sort of hanging close to you guys.
Okay.
How healthy does his horse look?
His horse, that's an interesting check. What's your perception bonus?
Ooh, perception is 1.
Oh, but he is riding a good quality light war horse.
Oh, we ain't about to outrun him.
Mm-mm.
Huh. Okay. I feel like we can turn a negative into a positive. My unseen servant can, push, pull, do things like that. Can I have it? It doesn't have hands, but can I have it lightly tap next to the horse? And since I have low animal handling, if I roll low enough, can I get the animal to freak out?
You want to try to scare the horse?
Yeah.
Okay, make an animal handling check, actually.
Okay, and I turn to Paxton before I do it, and I say, I'm going to try something. If it works, book it. Okay.
Gotcha.
6, 5.
Well, you're trying to scare the horse.
Yeah,
though.
I'm trying. I'm
Right.
aiming low.
Right.
I'm trying to do
okay,
poorly.
well, the horse does slow down and look a little freaked out,
Okay,
but nothing else happens.
Nothing else. Oh, okay.
But he is having trouble getting the horse to keep up with you guys.
So if he did a higher roll, he would have freaked out the horse.
Yeah, if you're trying to freak out an animal,
you
then you need to roll you need to actually apply your skill correctly to freak out the animals. So you'd have to
Okay.
roll higher.
I
Okay,
say
never
try it
mind.
again, and I'm going to give you a cleric guidance.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so
add a
roll with
D4.
advantage.
All right. 5.
Oh, you're not doing advantage, you're doing something else.
3. So that would be 8, 7. It's 7, so it's 2 points.
So
higher,
again, the horse is a little weirded out by something that it can't see pushing up against it, and it's slowing down. And he's having some trouble getting it to keep up with you guys, but he is eventually able to keep up. And actually, he does slow down even more than you do, and he starts hanging behind you from a greater distance.
You think we should just maybe pull over and see if he passes us?
Yeah.
I honestly think that he is going to keep following us, and he knows our route, I assume, because he read the posting, and we're just going to need to keep an eye out for this guy and deal with him appropriately later, maybe on a less crowded road.
I say I agree with Paxton. We stop. If he stops, let's just approach him. For all we know, he might not actually be hostile, and he might be an ally that we can have for the next month.
I don't like him.
So you're going to stop?
Are we?
Yeah, I pull the horses over just to see what he does.
He keeps riding. He rides past you, and he sort of eyes you out of the corner of his eye, but keeps riding.
I wave to him as he passes.
He says, "Hmm." So that's it.
I guarantee we're going to see him later.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
All right.
We'll be prepared then.
All right, so you continue onward. You should, at the rate you're going, you know you're going to reach Mulder's bunk by the end of the day. It may be late in the evening, but Mulder's bunk is busy, even in the evening. Even with the breeze blowing from the walls to the island of arrival, the smell of tanneries manages to drift in your direction. And that's not a pleasant smell. You can see smoke and other fumes rising into the air, blowing northeast. You can also see the aqueducts, which are carrying water pumped up from the sea, and that's for use by industry and by farms. And it's carried back by sewers, some of which are open sewers. Mulder's bunk does not have a wall around it, though some sections have their own defensive walls, notably the tanners and the smiths. There are also butcheries and pulp mills for paper making. And if you need any equipment, armor, weapons, reshoeing your horses, you don't need that. Buying paper or other supplies, you can get it straight from the source here. And basically, you can buy anything in the player's handbook at listed prices. You know, if there's something you want to stock up on, you can do it here. There's an inn in Mulder's bunk called the Dark Ale Tavern and Inn, where you can stay the night for 2 silver pieces each, or you could sleep outside under the dim sun, or you could sleep cheaply in a stable. Paxton, you know that sleeping in a cheap stable with a wagon full of valuable grain might invite trouble, unless, of course, you keep secret what's in it. On the other hand, your presence might deter that trouble. You guys look capable. You guys don't look like pushovers. Sleeping outside of town would probably be safe and cheap, but not as comfortable. And this might be your last chance to enjoy a proper bed for a while. What do you guys want to do?
This is a bad smelling town. With the paper mills and the sewer and the tanneries. So how far out of town might we sleep to get away from the smell at the very least?
Well, you could move a bit west outside of town since the wind is blowing from the west to the middle of the world. You'd be away from most of the smells if you did that.
You want to just drive till it don't stink no more?
You could do that too.
Are we tired?
I mean, you made a late start. You started at midday, so you could go longer.
I say we keep going. We don't really need a bed for much time, and I think that staying in the town without much food with a bucket full of food is a bad idea.
Yeah, how about we just drive until we find a nice forest that we can pull into to kind of obscure the fact that we have a cart and horses.
There's one not much further away.
Yep, there are occasional small stands of forest of trees off to the left and right of the trail. So this is mostly farmland, mostly flat or slightly rolling hills, but there are occasional stands of trees. All right, so you guys ride for a bit longer until you think the horses probably deserve a break. Tie them up. You know how to do this. You go to sleep. During the night, there's a slight misting, not quite a full rain, but you could sleep under the wagon if you wanted to stay dry. And the tarp is keeping the grain dry, so no worries there. All right, anything else you want to do with your evening? Are you guys setting watches?
I would say we should set watches out of an abundance of caution.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, because there are only 3 of you, that means that basically your rest period is going to have to be a bit longer than normal, because over an 8-hour rest, you can spend like 2 hours on watch, and it still counts as a long rest. But there's only 3 of you. If there are 4 of you, you each take 2 hours, right? So you'll have to make it a slightly longer rest than normal if you're going to keep watches and have everybody get a full night's sleep. But that's okay.
That's fine. We can do 9 hours and each of us watch for 3 hours. That way each person gets 6 hours.
Right.
Alrighty, we'll do that. As soon as we get off the wagon, I open one of my bags and go sit down as my tent pulls itself out and starts being set up by my servant.
Okay. Great. Anybody else need to do anything?
I'm feeling a bit guilty, and I need to let them know that I'm not a fighter necessarily. So you just need to understand that if we get into a fight, I've got your back. I'll heal you and I'll buff you and I'll make sure your AC is nice and high, but I don't actually hurt anyone. It's against my philosophy.
If they hurt you, though?
I'll defend myself, but I don't attack.
But if I handed you a sword, would you know what to do?
I'd know what to do, but I wouldn't want to.
But will you?
If I absolutely had to, I suppose I would.
Okay. Well, as long as you keep us alive, then yes, we do still need the backup.
I'm real good at that. If you need
as long as I can hide
there.
behind you, you still have the medal.
I recall being quite injured and healed, and our mission is not to hurt anyone, so I'm accepting of his whole philosophy.
Okay, well, the night passes without incident. The next day is much like the previous day, although there's not as much traffic along the trail now that you've moved away from Mulder's Bunk. The trail itself is fairly well maintained, better than a muddy track, but not as good as a proper road. The other people traveling the trail are mostly farmers going to their farms after selling goods at market. There are a few merchants carrying goods to Feldkirk, which is another town nearby, a few days away. There's a crossroads. If you follow it east, it goes to Feldkirk. If you follow it west, it'll take you into the Broken River and the old bridge. And guess who's back? You can see following you, but from a much greater distance, you can see your friend in the gray cloak.